The lock clicked twice and refused to turn. Maya Reynolds stood in the hallway outside the office she had opened every morning for 9 years, holding a key that no longer worked. The brass plate on the door still read Reynolds & Co. Consulting, her last name centered and polished, but the lock beneath it was new. She tried again. Same result. Behind the frosted glass, voices moved, laughter, familiar, comfortable. Her younger sister's voice cut through the noise. "Let's start without her. She's always late anyway." Maya stepped back, key still in her hand. Late. She had arrived 20 minutes early, the way she always did. Habit from the early years, when clients were fragile and mistakes were expensive. When this office had been nothing but folding chairs, borrowed desks, and her savings draining month by month. She knocked once. The voices inside stopped. Footsteps approached. The door opened just enough to reveal Claire Reynolds, perfectly dressed, tablet tucked under her arm. Claire blinked, then smiled. The polite, professional smile she used on people she had already decided didn't matter. "Oh," Claire said, "you're here." Maya looked past her into the conference room. Their parents sat at the table, 2 senior partners, a lawyer she didn't recognize. Papers were spread neatly, already organized. "What's going on?" Maya asked. Claire stepped fully into the hallway, closing the door behind her. "We were going to explain after the meeting." "Explain what?" Claire lowered her voice. "The board voted this morning. We restructured." Maya waited. "You're no longer managing partner." The words didn't echo. They didn't ring. They landed flat, like something rehearsed. "I founded this firm," Maya said. "Yes, but growth requires evolution." Maya looked at the lock again. "You changed the locks." "For security," Claire said. "You still have equity. We're not monsters." From inside the room, their parents' voice carried faintly. "Is she here?" Claire hesitated, then nodded. "Yes." "Tell her to come in," he said. Claire didn't move. Maya understood then. The meeting wasn't delayed because of her arrival. It had already started, without her. She stepped past Claire and opened the door herself. The room went quiet. Her mother avoided her eyes. The lawyer closed a folder. One of the partners offered an apologetic half-smile. On the table, directly in front of the empty chair that had always been hers, lay a stack of documents. Her name appeared on the first page. Transfer of authority. Maya didn't sit. She didn't raise her voice. She simply asked one question. "Who signed for me?" No one answered. Claire finally spoke. "You trust me, right?" That was when Maya knew. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't concern. It wasn't family looking out for her. It was replacement, done quietly, confidently, and with the assumption that she would accept it. Maya placed her keys on the table. "Finish your meeting," she said. "I'll read." She walked out before anyone could stop her, past the new lock, past the name on the door, past the firm she had built and been carefully removed from. In the parking lot, she sat in her car and let the silence settle. They had taken her position. They had not taken her leverage, and they had no idea what they'd just triggered. Maya didn't go home. She drove to the small storage unit she'd kept since the firm's early days, the one she'd never told anyone about because it held things she didn't want digitized or shared. Old contracts, backup drives, handwritten notes from meetings before formal minutes existed. A decade of work, quietly archived. She unlocked the unit and flipped on the light. The shelves were exactly as she'd left them, labeled, ordered, reliable. Maya sat on the concrete floor and began sorting with the same discipline she'd used to build the firm. No emotion, no replaying conversations, just facts. The consulting firm had grown quickly, but not cleanly. In the rush to expand, Maya had taken on responsibility others avoided: compliance filings, regulatory approvals, client guarantees tied personally to her credentials. She'd stayed managing partner not because she wanted control, but because the firm needed someone who understood the machinery underneath the branding. Claire never had. By late afternoon, Maya had identified 3 things that mattered. First, the firm's largest government contract required her certification to remain valid. It wasn't transferable without review. Second, several senior clients had signed on because of Maya's direct involvement. Their agreements named her specifically as oversight. Third, the firm's insurance coverage depended on disclosures Maya alone had filed and renewed annually. None of this was hidden. It just hadn't interested anyone else. She drove back to her apartment as the sky darkened and opened her laptop. Her access to the firm's systems had already been revoked, just as Claire promised, but Maya didn't need internal access. She drafted 3 emails, each neutral, each factual. One to the government contracting office, informing them of a change in management and requesting confirmation of compliance continuity. One to the insurance provider, notifying them of a shift in authority and asking for clarification on coverage implications. One to the firm's top 5 clients, stating simply that she was no longer involved in day-to-day operations and would be available to discuss any concerns. She didn't accuse, she didn't warn. She pressed send. Then she waited. The responses didn't come all at once. They never do. The first arrived from the insurance provider just before midnight. They needed updated disclosures immediately. The second came from a client the next morning, asking whether Maya's departure affected the timeline of an ongoing project. By noon, the government office replied, a formal review would be required to ensure compliance under the new leadership. Maya read each message carefully and filed them into a new folder. Continuity review. She didn't contact Claire, she didn't contact her parents, she let the process unfold the way processes do when no one interferes. That afternoon, her phone rang. It was Claire. Maya let it ring twice before answering. "We need to talk," Claire said, the confidence from the conference room gone. "I know," Maya replied. "Things are complicated." I looked at the folder on my screen. They usually are. Claire hesitated. "Did you contact anyone?" "I informed the relevant parties," Maya said. "That's standard when leadership changes." Silence. "You didn't have to do that," Claire finally said. Maya leaned back in her chair. "You didn't have to change the locks." The call ended shortly after. By evening, the firm's leadership team had scheduled an emergency meeting. Maya wasn't invited. She didn't need to be. Power doesn't announce itself when it shifts. It moves quietly, through structures people forget exist. And Claire had just discovered how much of the firm was still standing on Maya's name. The meeting invitation arrived late that night. Not an apology, not a request. A calendar block labeled Leadership Alignment Session, sent to Maya's personal email, the email only family used. The firm's domain was no longer attached to it. Maya accepted without comment. The conference room looked different without Maya's name on the door. Someone had removed it hastily, leaving a faint outline where the adhesive had been. Claire sat at the head of the table, posture stiff, tablet untouched. Their parents occupied the seats closest to her. The same lawyer from the morning meeting stood near the window, flipping through a folder. Maya took the chair at the far end and waited. "We're experiencing some friction," she began, choosing her words carefully. "Unexpected friction." Maya nodded. "Change usually causes that." The lawyer cleared his throat. "Ms. Reynolds, several contracts require your direct involvement to remain valid. We're trying to determine whether exceptions can be made." Maya folded her hands on the table. Those terms were intentional. Her mother leaned forward. "Sweetheart, no one meant to push you out." Maya looked at her calmly. "Then why was the lock changed before the conversation?" No one answered. Claire straightened. "We thought it would be easier this way. You've always preferred working behind the scenes. You don't like leading." I don't like performing, Maya replied. That's not the same thing. The lawyer spoke again. At present, the government contract is under review. Insurance coverage is conditional. 2 clients have paused deliverables. Claire's jaw tightened. All because you sent a few emails? All because the structure depended on me, Maya said. Her father finally spoke. What do you want? Maya considered the question, not emotionally, precisely. I want my position restored, she said. Managing partner, full authority. Claire laughed, sharp and quick. That's not realistic. Maya didn't respond. The lawyer shifted uncomfortably. There is another option, he said. If Miss Reynolds were willing to formally withdraw her certifications, the firm would need to suspend operations until replacements were approved. Claire turned toward him. Suspend? Temporarily, he said. Weeks, possibly months. The room went quiet. Maya met Claire's eyes for the first time since entering. I don't want the firm to fail. Claire exhaled, a sound close to relief. Then help us fix this. I will, Maya said, by returning what was taken. Her mother reached for her hand. Maya didn't pull away, but she didn't squeeze back either. Claire looked at the table, then up again. If we do this, she said slowly, you can't undermine us again. Maya stood. I didn't undermine anything. I revealed it. She gathered her coat. You have until morning. As she left the building, the city lights reflected in the glass walls behind her. Inside, they were scrambling. Outside, she was already done. She didn't need to raise her voice. She didn't need to threaten. The firm had been built on her work, her foresight, her restraint. And restraint, when released, had weight. By morning, the firm was quiet in a way that felt unnatural. Maya arrived early, not because she needed to, but because she wanted to see it before decisions were finalized. The receptionist nodded at her, uncertain whether to treat her as a guest or authority. Maya didn't correct her. She walked past the desks, past the conference rooms where strategy sessions used to stretch late into the night. Claire was already there, standing by the window in her office, phone pressed to her ear. She ended the call when she saw Maya and didn't try to hide the strain in her face. They're freezing the contract, at least temporarily, Claire said. Not Maya said. That's standard procedure. The insurance carrier wants amended disclosures. They're saying coverage could lapse if this isn't resolved today. Maya took a seat across from her sister, uninvited but unchallenged. And the clients? Maya asked. She hesitated. 3 have asked for reassurances. 1 hinted at walking. The room fell silent. For the first time, Claire looked smaller than Maya remembered. Not weaker, just exposed. The confidence she wore so easily yesterday had thinned, revealing uncertainty underneath. This wasn't supposed to happen, Claire said quietly. It always does, Maya replied, when foundations are removed without understanding what they support. Claire ran her hair through her head. We thought you'd accept it. You always step aside. Maya looked at her evenly. I step aside when it helps, not when it erases me. Their parents arrived shortly after. No speeches, no arguments, just tired faces and the realization that what they had allowed couldn't be undone quietly anymore. The lawyer joined them last, tablet in hand. There's a narrow window to stabilize this. If Maya resumes her role immediately, the contracts can be preserved. Otherwise, we're looking at significant losses. Claire closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, she nodded once. Managing partner, she said. Restored. The word hung in the air, heavy but necessary. Maya didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She simply reached for the document the lawyer slid across the table and signed her name. Her real signature. No copies, no assumptions. The systems were restored by noon. Emails went out. Clients were reassured.
The government office acknowledged continuity. Insurance coverage was confirmed. The firm steadied. Claire stood beside Maya in the hallway afterwards, quieter now. "I didn't think it would matter this much," she said. Maya met her gaze. "It mattered because I mattered." There was no argument after that. Maya left the office early that day, not out of exhaustion, but because there was nothing left to prove. The firm was functioning again, quietly, efficiently. Emails had returned to their normal cadence. Meetings were back on the calendar. Her name was once again where it belonged, not elevated, not hidden, simply present. She drove home with the windows down, letting the city move past her without interpretation. That evening her phone buzzed once. A message from Claire. "I didn't see you. I thought stepping back meant you didn't care. I was wrong." Maya read it, then set the phone aside without replying. Not out of cruelty, out of completion. Respect, she had learned, wasn't negotiated in conversations. It was established in structure, in who was consulted, in who was locked out, in whose work held everything together when appearances were stripped away. Over the following weeks, things settled into a new order. Claire stopped making decisions alone. Their parents stopped speaking for either of them. The firm didn't grow faster, but it grew cleaner. Meetings ended earlier. Mistakes were addressed instead of smoothed over. Maya didn't reclaim the spotlight. She didn't want it. What she reclaimed was authorship. One evening she stood alone in the office after everyone had left. Lights dimmed, the city humming beyond the windows. She looked around the space she had once been barred from and felt nothing sharp, nothing unresolved. The betrayal hadn't destroyed anything, it had clarified it. Maya turned off the lights and locked the door behind her, the same door that once refused her entry. Some people confuse quietness with absence, others mistake restraint for permission. Maya knew better now. She walked to her car, keys warm in her hand, and drove away without looking back. The firm would stand. She would remain. That was enough.